I'm going to show you how to get started on your less is more abstraction project. I chose this old pair of scissors to be the object I'm going to draw, and I like them, I think, because they're retro, and also I can put them in a lot of different positions. They're also flat enough that I can also give you a demo on just tracing them. But I want you to give a shot with trying to draw them as best you can, even if you haven't had a drawing class or are nervous about drawing. So in my intro to drawing class, I talk a lot about shape initially and positive and negative space. Positive meaning the form and negative meaning the shape, air spaces, whatever, around the forms. And you can't have one without the other. So you can play mental games with yourself on how much space you have, judging this shape next to this shape. There's about one of these to one of those to one of those width. You can judge the length of something next to something else, and either by just measuring it like this with your fingers, or in drawing class you lay your pencil on a form, move your finger up, and then you can judge other forms. This works really well for angles as well. You can also play tricks with yourself on if this reminds you of a letter form, like this is a inverted V, how tight is that inverted V? So those things you can kind of imagine in your mind really easily. And any of that dialogue that goes on in your head when you draw is completely valid. So I'm going to give it a shot. I think I'll try a couple different angles. I'll start with this one because I got space down here. And I might start with this circular form, this angle form, and as I'm going, I'm also kind of judging in my head what's in between. And then I might very simply move down to, let's see, I got this one wrong. Okay, with this angle, I can pull it to here. It's a little bit more like that. This is pretty much straight down to here, and then it makes a little jog. And then this goes here. That's that one. This one to here. Okay, scissors are tricky because they take a little bend. And that's the simplest architectural schematic of them. And now I can draw some of the details, and I'm sort of memorizing them a little bit in my head as I go. I can draw very fast because I've had lots of practice, and you guys will probably do it much slower, but anything you practice you'll get better at. So do draw at least 5, maybe some more. I'm also making, pretty strong lines, and not lines that are sort of somewhat dotted. Let's see, let's investigate this one again. And I'm also looking at some of the specifics, like what happens here. There's a little notch and a bend, and there's a bend here because that's where your fingers go. And try your best, and if your object is not super true to life, that's okay. You're abstracting simply because you're moving away from reality in terms of translating the scissors or whatever into a drawing from your mind. So that's an abstraction as it goes. These two are funny. This one's too large. I think I'll erase it. And I think I'll also look at where this is in relation to the other. And I think I had it too low, too small. And there's a bend there. Not as much as I had. I'm going to look at this shape and try to memorize what that is. It goes to here. Use any old pencil. I'm not particular personally with the pencils I use. I kind of like a number 2, which is the easiest one to find. If I do a large drawing, maybe I'll do a softer pencil because it can cover more territory faster. Okay, straighten that one out. There's not much of a bend in it. Subtle curves and angles are harder than more pronounced ones. And then it's important that you do at least of the 5 drawings, because once you draw one once, you're kind of getting to know it, and then you draw the second time and you're getting more knowledge under your belt and solving more visual problems with it. And by the time you draw it 3 times, you have it more memorized in your head. 5 times is even better, and that also gives you the option to change the orientation of your tool. Draw it, open or closed if it does that, or from a side angle or 3/4 view, something like this. Okay, so that's not bad. And my form is going to be a silhouette, so everything in the middle should get erased. And then if I like this one, I'll ink it in, and it could be the one I go from, or quite possibly the ones after this will be better.